Hello and welcome to Inside the Playbook presented by Hoosier Network, a podcast where we dive deep into the schematics of sports. I am Gabe Jenkins and I'm joined by my co-hosts Campbell Manahan and Noah Seuss, as well as our producer Lane. Fellas, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm really enjoying this fall weather here today in Bloomington, and I'm excited to talk ball with you guys.
I mean, this is a great time to talk ball. We got a lot of ball going on, a lot of football. NFL and college football are fully into swing. NBA is just now starting. Last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Rockets was a very fun game. Overall, just a lot of really fun sports going on. And we're going to talk about some college football today. But overall, today we're just going to start with Penn State film. A lot of interesting things going on with Penn State this season. I think we can all agree upon. Preseason hype was a lot of hype. Expectations through the ceiling. Trying to win the national title was the expectation coming in this year, especially after being in the Final Four last year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys were projected number one at some point in the season. They would probably win to get up to the point that they're the number one team in the nation. However, it just hasn't panned out like that. And I remember some of the preseason talk was Drew Aller might be in consideration for the number one overall pick. And now, who knows?
Drew Aller was everywhere. Heisman favorite, first overall pick favorite. He was all over the place. Didn't go that way for Drew Aller, but he's a great quarterback. I feel like he's going to be good in the next level too.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the hype around preseason just came from the fact that they returned most of their talent from last year. So everyone assumed with all that returned talent now that they would just be right back where they were. But I also think what we didn't fully realize is that if you look at the NFL right now, they had 2 top 15 picks go to the league. They did not return all their talent. They lost 2 of their best players in Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter.
And I think something to consider there might be you return a lot of talent, but that means you're returning your scheme as well. So you're not changing too much. So they have that entire season to look at what these players can do, and that's a part of coaching.
They won 2 rounds in the playoffs. And the teams they beat weren't the greatest. Some would say that run was a little fluky, but then you lost to a good Notre Dame team by 3 points.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that was a competitive game. I know that the whole thing has been that they can't win the big one, and they didn't win the big one there, but they were really close, and I think it gave a lot of Penn State fans hope that because of how close they were, they could come back and go win a national title this year. But let's get into what has happened so far in the year. This is a major matchup. They're facing Oregon, the number 6 team in the nation, at home. They have a whiteout going on. It's just insane atmosphere. That whiteout is known as the best atmosphere in all of college sports. They here have an and goal situation with 3:25 in the third quarter. It's the second half. It's late in this game. It's 3-3. It's been a defensive battle. But let's see what the Penn State defense does so far here. They have a lot of zone going on across the board here in this matchup with 4 defensive linemen here in the middle that all just 4 defensive linemen here in the middle right here that are going after the quarterback. They're not really showing any pressure. A lot of guys drop back, and Oregon's just going to be super cool with spreading it out and throwing a screen pass to the running back out wide here. And let's just watch how the tackling breaks apart for Penn State here. See, as we snap this here, and Oregon just runs right through. Just if you watch that closely, there's so many broken tackles here. 3 different Penn State men right in this circle that all need to make that tackle. There's no way that should be a touchdown right there.
A lot with Penn State these last couple weeks were because of bad tackling. We've seen it in a lot of the other games. I'm going to see it in a lot of the other film.
And that's something that coaching has to take over. You have to be. This is a pattern that you see a lot, and you will continue to see as we break down more film. Is that there's a lot of not just broken tackles, but also missed tackles. They're trying to run the wrong way, or they start out on the opposite end. So there's a lot of they aren't recognizing the play that's about to start, and that's something that needs to be coached because you can help them recognize what is coming.
Yeah, and this next play is just going to be another example of Penn State not being in the right spots on a run play here. They have a major situation here. 4th and 1. They're down 7. 12:29 left in the game. We're deep in this one, and they just need a stop here. If they don't get the stop, you're going to be down 14. It's just going to be a brutal scenario to come back in this game. Oregon here has 2 tight ends and a running back in the backfield, so a heavy set, clearly showing run. But it looks like they're probably going to run to the right here. but they're going to actually take this run to the left. All these Penn State D linemen here are going to pinch against the center, and it's going to leave it up to the linebackers to make the play here. But these tight ends do a great job of clearing out the linebacker, and number 16 here off the edge sets the edge properly, but doesn't close it in the tackle and make a right play. As you watch here, it becomes just way too easy for this running back to just squeeze through these blocks and just walk in pretty much untouched, and that's just the thing you cannot let happen as a defense.
I mean, 16 set that edge right. He, as a player, you want to, if you're not going to make the tackle, you want to at least push him back to the other people that could make him. So he's pushing that tight end or the running back into the pile of people, but he's so far turned that he can't make any contact.
That play is fully due, not to the running back, but to the offensive line and the tight ends of Oregon. What a great play by them to set up a 2-score lead for Oregon.
Yeah, and now in this stadium, there's been Fire Franklin chants going on, this crowd. The crowd is just pissed off. They're down 17-3. They have this standard at Penn State where they can't win the big ones, and they're just getting really angry here. But Penn State, they stay composed, and you have to give them credit here. They drop a brilliant play here where number 5 is seen running a deep post, while number 87 here runs a little curl, and it takes these deep safeties that Oregon has just completely away from number 5 and just lets them bomb them over the top, and Drew Aller's going to place this ball right in the money as you watch. Just this deep post going really long. Aller showing that arm talent, great speed from 5, and that's a touchdown, making this game a 1-score game once again for Penn State.
You couldn't ask for a better ball if you're Drew Aller. And you have to find Devontae Ross. Devontae Ross is such a key part of this Penn State offense so far this year. If you're the Penn State quarterback now, the backup, who's the backup now? Who's taking over? We don't know right now. But if you're that guy and you're coming in and you have Devontae Ross, it should be good. You have someone to throw to.
Yeah, and Penn State's second touchdown here. We got 37 seconds left in this game. This is a close one. They need to get in the end zone. They have 37 seconds to do so. They draw up a really creative, fun play where you're going to see this tight end come out. They're going to fake pitch it to him. Well, number 5, Devontae Ross, once again, the speed demon comes. They run a reverse, and they're going to actually give it to him. We're going to see great outside blocking with one linebacker from Oregon with a chance to make the play, but he takes the wrong angle on it. And when you take the wrong angle on a guy like Devontae Ross, it's just, you're getting burnt, and it's a touchdown. And that's what you see right here. He just walks right in, untouched, touchdown Penn State to tie the game, send it to OT.
And Devontae Ross is just a guy that's going to keep coming up, I think, as we keep breaking down film. He's a real big playmaker for them, and getting him the ball is what they need to do in these high-stakes situations.
Yeah, and I mean, this is right here. Penn State is now, they were looking bad earlier in this game, but all of a sudden, you have all the momentum. You just tied it up, sent it to OT, got 14 points. Your offense is all of a sudden clicking. And then in overtime, once again, your offense is going to click again. They're going to go out immediately in overtime and get themselves a touchdown. Now then Oregon responds with another touchdown, and now we're going to see the first play after Oregon ties the game back up. We're in second overtime, and you just can't let this happen if you're Penn State. It's just like, it's a crushing play what happens, as you're going to see number 33 just completely whiffs on a sack. That's Dennis Sutton. He's going to whiff on a sack here, and you're just going to see Dante Moore escape and deliver a deep cross here, right in here, and it's just going to be an easy walk-in touchdown for Oregon. And this is just something that right here dodges the sack, delivers a throw, and he's just going to walk it right into the end zone. That's just, on the first play of overtime, you just can't let this happen. You just get completely burnt, and it leads to just misfortune for Penn State later in this game.
And, Oregon was building that play up the entire game. Like, every first down of the first series, they're running the ball, and so that's kind of the tendency they started to have. And then you throw in the tendency breaker when it matters most, and that's a one-play touchdown.
Yeah, and that's what Dante Moore does. He expands the playbook. He goes out there and throws a perfect strike to give Oregon a big lead.
Yeah, and I mean, right here, Oregon takes the lead, but in second overtime of college football, you have to go for 2. Oregon fails to get their 2-point conversion. So now Penn State, you have the opportunity with the ball to go down, get a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, and win the game right here. And when you have the opportunity to win the game as an offense, you are supposed to take full control of that and go win the game. And Drew Aller, a quarterback who has a lot of hype to be a first-round pick, be a big NFL prospect, he needs to make the play. But in this situation, we're going to start to see a little bit of the collapse of Penn State. As right here, they're going to run a clear-out route from here so that this route right here will try to be open these zones. But Drew Aller just underthrows it a little bit. These linebackers are staring right into his eyes right here, and it's just going to get picked off way too easily. That man wasn't open, and it was underthrown. Just, you cannot let that happen. That's a game-sealing pick. Oregon wins. But also, it is a top 10 loss. It's not the worst loss of all time. Your season's not over. You can rebound. But, man, it's a tough one to swallow right there.
And you can argue that receiver was a little open if he puts more air under it or puts it in the right spot. But even if it gets to that receiver, it looks like he'll get blown up by the other safety coming in.
Yeah, and Aller completely underthrew the ball. He just lofted it up, thinking the wide receiver was going to jump for it and catch it. Terrible ball by Aller. Just terrible to finish off his Penn State career.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the start of this collapse that we're going to watch here of Penn State football in the James Franklin era specifically. As I think a lot of people here know, James Franklin does end up getting fired after the Northwestern loss, and it's just like been a collapse from Penn State. And this is the start right here. They come all the way back, they show fight, and then Drew Aller makes a mistake, and I think it just put this like mental block in their mind that we can't win the big one. We just lost again. We always do this. We're the same. We're not different this year. It's just going to be a struggle to try to win any games at all.
So now we're going to go to Penn State at UCLA. Okay, you're playing UCLA. Bounce back game here for James Franklin and the fellas. So you see here, Penn State rushing a 4-2 zone. So Nico steps back in the pocket. He steps up. He jukes. He's going all over. He's running the ball. He escapes, scrambles. He runs through a guy. Guys, what do we think of Nico right there?
I mean, that's just an impressive play from Nico. It's this 3rd and 11 opening drive. You're telling Nico, who just let's say it, he was paid a lot of money to come to UCLA to make plays like this. UCLA, not the highest talented roster. They need a guy like Nico to be their best player and leader out there, and he just makes a great play with his legs, showing he is a highly talented quarterback who can be a game changer.
And I believe at this point, UCLA is either 0-3 or 0-4, and they just fired their head coach, and they're just kind of they're 0-4. Got it. All right, 0-4, just fired their head coach. They're coming in with interim head coaches, interim offensive coordinator. They're like hoping that whatever they put together works, and it starts to work. This obviously 3rd and 11, you've backed up a little bit, but then you convert like that, you're feeling good.
The next play we see a 3rd and 15 on the Penn State 25. Nico rolls right. He's running right through. Great block right there by the UCLA player. And Nico runs in for another big first down for UCLA. It's these 3rd downs and 15s that keep costing Penn State in these spots.
I mean, in those situations, you see 3rd and 15, you're like, all right, back the boys up, play in zone, keep everything underneath you, but you have to keep your eyes on the quarterback, and they just fail to do that time and time again.
Yeah, and I mean, especially, it's just like mind-boggling how this happens again to you as a coach. Like, as a coach, when it happens once, it's like, okay, we got a little unlucky there, but now we know what we need to do, so we're going to watch Nico as a quarterback, and we're going to make sure he cannot scramble. But that's not what Penn State did. They continued to do the same defense, and just, once again, it didn't work.
So the next play here, we see Penn State in 4-3 cover man. Watch Quasi down here. Watch Quasi Gilmer. So the play starts. Quasi burns him immediately. Nico throws an amazing ball, hits Quasi right in the chest. What a dot by Nico there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an impressive play from Nico. Quasi got the early burn right off rip, but Penn State did a really good job of catching up and was really right there. That throw had to be truly perfect, but Nico did that. Nico put it right on the money and made a big-time play. In this game, he just keeps coming up huge. And that's what UCLA, frankly, needs out of him. They are the less talented team. They need players like Nico to step up in this matchup.
So the next play here, okay, 27-14, Penn State, UCLA punting the ball. All right, Penn State finally getting a little bit of momentum here. So we see Dennis Sutton running right through, gets a big punt block, which gives Penn State a touchdown. You're right back in it. All the hype is there. Penn State is alive and well.
I mean, that's the kind of momentum shifter you need when you went down big against a very not terrific team. And then they start playing terrific, and you're like, uh-oh, got to get moving. And they finally start getting moving, and that's what this play does for them.
So the next play here, we see Nico with another big run. He rolls out of the pocket for 52 yards on another third down play. Guys, what do we think about Nico rolling out and running on third down?
I mean, 3rd and 7. You're once again, 3rd and long. You got to think they have to at least notice the tendency here that Nico's going to run if he doesn't see anything. So why aren't they putting a spy or having that be the first look? Is he going to run? Is there going to be a gap for him to run?
I mean, yeah, it's just I just don't understand how you let it happen again. Like, clearly this has been a problem for you. Your defense, or at Penn State, Jem Knowles is the defensive coordinator. He was the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football. Comes into Penn State, this is his first year, and he's supposed to figure it out and go win a national title, and he can't figure out how to stop a 3rd and 7 scramble. It's just like over and over again, these 3rd and longs, Nico's killing them with their legs, and they can't figure out anything to stop it.
So the next play here, we have UCLA 34, Penn State 28. UCLA has 3rd and goal, and Penn State's in a 3-3. Watch Dennis Satan as he is the QB spy here. Nico rolls. He runs in for the touchdown, and Dennis Satan totally blew this play as a spy.
Yeah, you finally realize the tendency, and you finally put a spy on him, but you put the wrong guy as a spy. He doesn't have nearly enough agility to follow a guy like Nico.
Yeah, I mean, Nico, clearly he is a fast man. I mean, all game he's just been killing them with his legs. And you need to put, I don't know, maybe a safety on him at some point here. Just somebody that can actually catch up to him, and they just fail to do that.
Okay, so our next play here, we have 4th and 1. 2 minutes left. Nico tries again to run for the first down, but he is stuffed. Penn State has the ball in UCLA territory, and they are trying to tie the game here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like easily just a clearly Penn State has the bigger guys in the trenches. UCLA tries to go right up the middle. Penn State comes up huge. Now you're thinking, all right, let's escape this game. We're down 7. We have the ball. We can do this. You can go get a score and just try to escape this game.
So a little bit later on, we have 4th and 2nd on the UCLA 10. Penn State hikes the ball. It's a power run. Both get stuffed. And it's a really bad play call here from Franklin and the coaching staff.
I mean, you love a good option in your offense, but when it gets blown up, both of your options, they knew it was coming. You had to tell or something, some sort of tendency that they knew you were about to run that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just over and over again. This game just clearly, it was just a poorly coached game. That I feel like the Oregon game maybe just broke their spirits, just like to even try is kind of what it felt like to me when watching this game. It just, a poor effort from the coaching staff, a poor effort from the players. Just, this was not a team motivated to go beat a team today.
And you can't really blame that game on the crowd either because it wasn't very large. But
The field storm was great, though. Did you all see that? Them getting, like, the one person getting chased by, like, 3 cops.
Yeah, it was quite the crowd atmosphere at UCLA today.
All right, so now we're going to move on to Penn State at Northwestern at Penn State. And this is James Franklin's last game. So we're going to start off. We've got 2nd and 2 in the red zone. Drew Aller's going to look at this outside receiver for a curl, But I believe the miscommunication here is the receiver is going for a fade ball. And as you see this play unfold, the wide receiver right here, as he's about to throw it, wide receiver's under it. So Drew Aller's thinking, curl, I can throw that in there. The corner's on top of him. That's going to be either an incompletion or it's going to be a completion for almost the touchdown. But instead, the wide receiver never really stops moving. And the corner is able to get under him, take the ball, and just run with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a clearly impressive play from Northwestern, but just, I don't know. That wasn't a good decision. Yeah.
Northwestern,
No, you're good.
Northwestern entered this game as plus 20.5 point underdogs. That's some way to set the tone there at Penn State.
And also something else to mention is Penn State's unranked now. After losing to Oregon and losing to UCLA, they're unranked. They're out after being the consensus championship contender in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Texas and then Penn State right after. Like it was 1 and 2, Texas, then Penn State. Just a lot of expectations. Those expectations now have been clearly just crushed. And going into this game, I think it would be really hard as a Penn State player to just like be motivated to like even win.
So off of that pick, they get 3 points, and now we have Penn State back in the red zone. They're just going to have a simple run right to the left here. And this safety, instead of following, he's playing something that he saw a tendency for. He's going to the right, but the run's to the left. Everyone gets blocked very well. It's an easy touchdown for Penn State.
Yeah, what a response there for Penn State to get the crowd back into it. The crowd was great from what I can tell at the game. But the fact that the crowd didn't quit, neither should the team have quit on the team. So I think Penn State has a lot to look forward to in the future with the NIL money that they have. I think it's only up from here.
And now we're going to move on to this next play from Northwestern. It's 3-7. Northwestern's driving. They're on the opposing 30. This opposite side receiver, he's going to run up and a little bit out. And it's a cover one look here. So the safety's in the middle. The receiver never really gets covered by that safety. It's an easy deep ball here from Northwestern.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's easy to be negative against Penn State here when talking about this play and the defense they played in it. But also, let's just give some props to Stone, who just delivered like a perfect throw. When watching him, I was just thoroughly impressed with this game. I did not know much about him as a quarterback, and now I think he is very capable of leading a team in the Big Ten to victories at Northwestern.
And the fact that he could go into a tough road environment like Penn State and get a big win for Northwestern and the program, it was huge for them.
So this next play is you're Penn State. You're up 13-14. You're making Northwestern punt again. And you've got Devontae Ross fielding that punt, and he's really good. We talked about him a couple times already today, and he just muffs the punt. It hits him in the chest, goes out of his hands. Northwestern recovers.
Yeah, Ross looked like he wanted to run before he even caught the ball. His mind was upfield. Everything was upfield for Ross.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a simple mental mistake, which I think these little tiny simple mental mistakes clearly keep hurting Penn State in all these games we watch of them. And if it keeps happening, you got to just look and maybe say that's a little bit of a coaching error.
Now, that only resulted in 3 points for Northwestern, but that's 16-14. You just gave up the lead. But here comes Devontae Ross again. On this little crosser here, he gets the ball, and then he runs it back the other way. And can you just say speed enough time to describe this play? He gets the ball, runs forward, outruns that guy, makes that guy fall down, goes in between those guys. He's fast.
I mean, when we were watching Devontae Ross, I think I'm not a big mock draft guy. I haven't looked at the mock drafts, but just that guy's going to be playing on Sundays, isn't he? I mean, just that elite speed that can just play in the NFL.
And it was huge for him to make up for that muffed punt mistake before.
And that leads to a touchdown. So now it's Northwestern 16, Penn State 21. And now you get a little bit of what just happened type play. So all of these defensive linemen here just kind of get pinched, and they don't really make contact with the running back who's running this inside zone. He's just going to run through and just kind of, where do you get through? And then right here before this, you can see this safety didn't really know where he was. He's kind of looking in the middle, looking at the pile like, I don't really see him. And then he finally sees him, but yeah, you're not only 7 yards out from the end zone.
I mean, it just feels like this Penn State defense is fully deer in the headlights in this play. They don't know what's going on. And then this little tiny running back out from Northwestern, just like, he's too small for them to find, I guess, and he just slithers on through to the end zone.
He just squeezed on in, which gave Northwestern the lead in the big moment.
And then on this next play, it's the backup quarterback because Drew Aller goes down in the final drive to try to regain the lead against Northwestern. It's 4th and 3. You're put into a pretty bad scenario. You kind of trying to do whatever you can. As this play unfolds, nothing's open. He just tries to run forward, get something, and gets smoked by 2 guys.
I mean, it's just a truly unfortunate situation to be in as a backup quarterback. You don't want your first play of the game be 4th and 3 and the final drive of the game to try to win. It's just a tough spot. He probably should have tried to at least make a throw, but he didn't see any throw downfield, tries to scramble, and there's just nothing there.
He tried to make something out of nothing. But it was a tough, really hard spot for him to go in there and try to get a big first down for Penn State.
So this is the final offensive drive of James Franklin. Yeah. He gets fired after this game. It's over for him. He's, looking for new jobs probably, interviewing. I know it's not legal interviews yet, but he's probably making discussions happen right now. So where do you guys think he is going?
Yeah, I mean, I think James Franklin, he's probably going somewhere in the Virginia Tech, maybe Florida range of jobs. It's a tough spot. He has to go seek a job. Like, that's in his Penn State contract, is after being fired, he does have to go look for another job. So we know he's doing that. He went on game day and talked about this. He is very open to coaching again. I don't think he'll be in media. I would assume he takes a coaching job. If I had to make a prediction, I would probably say Virginia Tech is the job he will end up at.
On game day, he also stated that his goal was still to win a national championship. That's why I think he's going to go to Florida. It's a good spot, SEC school, a lot of NIL money and resources, so I think he goes to Florida.
So, off of the same topic, do we think James Franklin should have been fired at all?
I think it's a really tough thing to say because it's such high expectations that they had this year, but also those expectations were so high because of what James Franklin had done for this program. Like, you don't get expectations to win a national title without James Franklin giving them those expectations. They had those expectations because of the program that James Franklin has built at Penn State, where they are consistently in the top 10. They consistently should be top or fighting to be in the new 12-team playoff. They consistently should be beating up on teams like UCLA and Northwestern. But also, then that's why he gets fired, is because of this consistency that he's set. All of a sudden, that consistency is gone when they start losing to a team like UCLA, losing to a team like Northwestern. That's not something Penn State should be doing. And I can understand why the fan base gets so angry and decides to just, we're done with it. The fan base is just all done with having him as their coach. They're just through, and they decide, the board ends up deciding this is not our guy anymore. We got to go find someone new.
James Franklin could not win the big game, the big games at Penn State. 4-21 against AP top 10 opponents, and 4-16 versus Ohio State and Michigan. That's unacceptable. The Big Ten is stacked, and you have to win in this conference. So that's why he's gone. It's not because of these 2 losses to Northwestern and UCLA. It's because he couldn't win the big games.
And do you guys have any ideas for Penn State's new hire after this year?
I think they'll look towards Missouri's Eli Drinkwitz. He's done a perfectly good job fixing the program. 44-25 his time at Mizzou. And Mizzou is not a bad SEC team. They're very mediocre, middle of the pack. And I feel like Eli Drinkwitz is a perfect coaching hire for Penn State.
Yeah, I think Eli Drinkwitz would be a perfect fit right in for Penn State. But to me, it doesn't feel like he wants to leave Missouri. Like, I think Penn State would be incredibly stupid to not call Eli Drinkwitz, be like, hey, do you want to coach here? I just think he's going to hang up. And because of that, I think next call, I think there's a wild card offer out there for John Gruden. He's currently not employed anywhere other than Barstool Sports. I don't think it'll be very hard for them to buy out whatever his contract is there. He's always, whenever asked in media if he wants to coach again, he's always said he does. He is looking, he's accepting offers, but he's going to try to find the right offer for him. I think a job like Penn State would be the right spot for John Gruden, who has been a proven good coach in football for a while. Had some controversy, which is why he's not coaching anymore. But he's clearly a good coach. He knows a lot about football. I think he'd be a good recruiter because he's popular, and so guys would probably want to play for him. I think him doing all this stuff at Barstool in the media helps raise his popularity, and I think that's why Penn State should look to hire John Gruden.
So, 2 weeks after the Penn State-Oregon loss, Oregon plays IU, and that game was very tough battle. IU came out on top. How do you guys feel about that?
It was a great game. Defensively, we saw a lot of the same things we've been seeing out of this IU defense. We saw Mendoza go in after a tough Iowa game and play maybe his best game of the entire year.
I think the real way to look at this game for IU is it's a step that they didn't take last year. Last year, Cignetti came in and changed the program into a winning program, where all of a sudden, instead of going 6-6 at best and trying to fight for a bowl game, they're now looking to win 10+ games in the Big Ten every year. And he takes that big step, but what he wasn't able to do was beat a big team like Ohio State or a big team like Notre Dame. And typically, or in both those games last year, where they really fell apart was in the trenches play with their D-line and offensive line. And I thought against Oregon, they outplayed Oregon in the offensive line and in the defensive line. And I think that's the reason this game went a different way from what last year's team was.
And over this past weekend, IU played again, beat Michigan State. Now they're moving on to UCLA. And that could be one of the tougher games left on IU's schedule. This UCLA team, under this coaching, is undefeated, 3-0 in conference. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, Cignetti is giving UCLA the credit for that. He said the tough part about this game is you're not looking at UCLA like they're a 3-4 team. You are indeed looking like they are a 3-0 team in Big Ten play because they are a fully new team now. They have a new coaching staff, and it's just been a new environment for UCLA since then. Haven't lost, and it's not even been all one way. Last week, we saw UCLA win in a defensive matchup where Nico didn't play as well, but they still got the win. So they've been able to find ways to win games with this new coaching staff. I think it's clearly, with looking at the rest of IU's schedule, it is the toughest matchup. I think if you get out of this game, which I think they should be able to, I think you're probably looking at like somewhere in the 17 to 24 point win victory margin range for IU here. At home, big noon, it's a big game. I think they'll be able to be ready to play. I think Cignetti will get the guys ready. After that, there's no game that's anywhere close as tough as this game right here.
My real question is, how is Indiana going to stop Nico from running wild on them? We saw during that Penn State game, Nico really use his legs to carry UCLA to a big win.
You know, I think something that's big about that is IU has really good pass pressure. They have really good pass rushers. They have really good pass contain with their linebackers that they use, and Aiden Fisher and Isaiah Jones. They have really good quarterback contain and pass pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the reason they're going to be able to contain Nico here, when you're watching the IU-Oregon broadcast, the entire time these commentators keep being like, I don't know, IU keeps coming out here with 3 linebackers. And yes, they do, because these linebackers are the strength of this defense right here, and you would be stupid to not have them on the field. I think they're going to be able to contain Nico. I think UCLA is not going to have success on third down as often. So assuming IU can still have success early on, the key, I think, for IU here will be having success on first and second down, not third. I think they'll be fine on third. It's getting off the field first down.
Last week, we saw Michigan State and Aiden Childs do a lot of screen passes. Keep it short, keep it simple. Do we think UCLA is going to resort to that type of game this Saturday?
You know, I think they might because it worked last week for a long time that Michigan State was able to get those quick passes off and just have a lot of run after catch. But also, we know Curt Cignetti's a really good coach, and he's going to see that flaw, and he's going to iron it out, and he's going to make it right.
Yeah, I mean, I have full faith in this IU coaching staff to just figure it out. Any flaw from any week so far, when I watch them, I feel like they always just correct stuff. Now, they keep finding new flaws, obviously, and you're always going to do that. That's why we play these games. That's why we watch film. Then you just have to keep fighting and fighting and fighting to just change those flaws so that by the end of the year you have as least flaws as possible so you can try to compete for a national title. I think Curt Cignetti has been dominant in correcting just these tiny flaws that IU keeps having.
And you know, that's something we'll have to discuss next time because that is all for today. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Playbook presented by Hoosier Network. My name is Gabe Jenkins, and for my co-hosts, Campbell Manahan and Noah Seuss, have a good night.